Okay, so like as we continue with this series of sorry, I can't even figure out which alarm in this apartment that's coming from, so I can't change the battery right now. Give me like a few. Maybe by tomorrow I'll figure it out. Oh god. Okay, so this is like so random. So I'm on this. I was a member on a family account with my brother at the YMCA, right? So I was trying to like rejoin the YMCA like yesterday or the day before. So when I tried to sign up, it was all this stuff like with his account, right? And so then I went this morning to try to work out, and the guy was like, oh, there's like a note on your account. We need to like talk to the manager before you can join. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. So then I emailed the manager or whatever, and he emails me back, and he's like, okay, let's just I'm gonna check on some things, and then by the end of the week I'll let you know like what's going on. So I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to join the YMCA or not. There was a whole thing that happened with Tubby like a while ago, and it was just like, man, it was just so, there was some pretty mad shit going on with my ex, and he was like telling Tubby these things, and then like it was like all of these like different communication streams that were happening at the same time, and then Tubby told me something, and I was just like, what? And it just threw me off completely, but that is definitely not the point. So the point here is like, I go into the YMCA to try to fix it, and then I was like standing in line, and I'm like looking, and it's like my brother, and I was like, oh my god, like I have not seen or talked to my brother in like 3 years, like legit 3 years, and we like live in the same city, everything, like we do not talk. We don't, and it's not even like initially, like the first year, I just didn't want to talk to him because I was like, well, I still kind of feel like this. We don't actually have anything to talk about. Not even it's not even like at this point, it's not really like bad feelings. It's more like sometimes in adulthood, you get to a point where you realize that someone can't do anything for you, and they're not contributing anything positive in your life. So like here are some things that someone could contribute into your life. Like they could provide emotional intelligence, like love, compassion, empathy. Like those are all things that someone could hypothetically provide that would make your life better. Like my friends do that for me. My brother was not doing that for me. So for me, I was like, this relationship isn't going anywhere. Like it's not useful. So it wasn't like, the first year, you know, when I didn't speak to him, it was kind of like, I was a little bit angry, right? Because I wanted him to be supportive. I wanted him to be like this great guy. And then when he wasn't, I was just like, oh man, he's not this great guy, you know, that he's not like a supportive family member. Like he doesn't really care about me or like my life. And that was hard, but I guess I've just like grown up more, you know, and I've realized that like there are people in the world who just don't give a shit about you, and like that's just how it is. Like there's nothing you can really like do about it. There's nothing to say. It's just kind of like you just realize that that's what it is. And then you just move forward with your life, hopefully with people who do care about your well-being. And it's not going to be everyone. It actually might not be most people. Like in my case, it's not most people. But now here's something that's funny. So I think the guy who's like the manager there was like friends with, or he was like a coworker of my brother or whatever at one point. And so my brother was like checking in, and then the guy's like, he was like asking my brother for his address. And then he's like, oh, like, I gotta look it up, like, I just moved or whatever. And he's like, oh, is it that you don't want to say it out loud? You don't want to say it out loud. So he was saying it in this way where he's like, oh, you don't want her to know? And it was just like, I think this guy and probably other people in this community think that there's some, like, bad blood or whatever. Like there's something happening with my family or whatever. And there are things that I'm upset about. There are things that have happened. There are things that we're for sure working through. But here's the first thing. Firstly, it's none of anyone else's business. And they don't actually know what's happening because, like, they're not there. The only way for you to know what's happening is for you to be there. If you're not there, you actually don't know what's happening. So you should probably just not make assumptions about it because, like, that doesn't actually make any sense. The second thing, just because two people are not, like, supportive of another, like, if I don't believe in your dreams, that doesn't really mean that I hate you. It just means, like, whatever you've got going on is just not, it's like not what I have going on. It's like you have something going on, I have something going on. We're not really, like, rooting for each other. We're like legitimately just living different lives. And that's it. There's not more than that. There's not, like, two stories. Like, that's the story. And I just think that is, people are just retarded. And also people are extremely nosy. People are first retarded, and then second, people are nosy. So it's just kind of like everyone's sitting here sticking their fucking noses in my business. Like, I can't describe the amount of niggers who, like, continue to, like, pry their little dusty ass noses into what I have going on. It's like, first of all, why do you give a shit? Second of all, why are you gossiping about me? Like, what I have going on in my life has, like, legitimately nothing to do with you at all. Like, you're not even in the narrative at all. Like, they will just keep saying shit. Oh, I heard this. Oh, she did that. Oh, I didn't. It's like, get the fuck out of here. Like, nobody asked you at all. No one cares what you think. Nobody asked you. Like, your opinion, it doesn't count here. What? Like, I'm so confused for so many reasons. It's just like, and then there's this other assumption, and I really want to be clear about this because I just don't feel like I'm the first, and I don't think I'm going to be the last, like, black girl who has to encounter this. People aren't going to like you. There's so many reasons why it's not going to happen. They're going to, like, insult your womanhood. They're going to insult your femininity. They're going to assault your religion. They're going to assault your ethics and your morals. If you do decide to become a mother, they're going to assault your motherhood. Every single thing that makes you a human, they're going to attack it and nitpick it because they just don't see black women as fucking humans. And I can't describe that in better English or make it more clear, but it's just something that you will eventually, it will, like, hit your doorstep and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. And if you haven't seen it yet, like, your day's coming and you will see it. Maybe that's, like, unfortunately, but, like, it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating because, like, you might feel like oh, you know, I just want to be regular. Oh, I just want to have some, like, normal experiences, which, you know, everyone fucking wants to have, but I can't explain it to you. There just aren't any normal experiences for black women, especially if you're like me, you know, like, we're, like, type A, we're, like, pretty successful, relatively independent. No one understands us. And not only do they not understand us, like, they refuse to see our humanity in, like, all of the ways. And it's very, very strange, very, very toxic. And it's like, I don't know. It's just, it's kind of, it's exhausting. Like, that's one good way to put it. It's exhausting because you can't fight everyone. You can't even fight most people. You know what I'm saying? All you can do is just kind of, like, live for you and just you know, like if people have some questions about a decision that you made or some sort of, I don't know, life choice or value that you hold, you can try to explain it to them, but it's not your like responsibility to do so. Like you don't have to explain it to them. And don't let anyone like kind of like bully you into becoming an explainer for them. Like that's another very strange thing that I had to encounter, and I for the life of me, like I can't understand why people do this. Like they try to make it so that you bear the burden of like them not understanding the world and society. Like there's something about the world and society that they don't understand, and then the responsibility supposedly like falls on you to be like, oh, you have to explain this to me. Oh, well, I didn't understand it, so now you have to make it make sense. It's like, no, bro, that's like not my fault. It's like, this is one of the biggest issues I have with like the whole conversation around Karens, because like I can't explain black womanhood to white women. I can't. Like I am a black woman. Like my whole ass experience is that. But also it's like, I mean, it's just ridiculous, like the amount of animosity like I faced in adulthood, and I just haven't been like a full adult for like that long to like have this much animosity. Like it's incredible. Like I can't, it's very difficult to explain. Like, and I think a lot of it has to do with other people and their assumptions about me, and then me and my own worldview and politics and values, and then almost like society's ability to an extent to kind of question those values and question my life view. And then there's this a whole other concept around like group formation and group membership, because like personally, like I don't believe in that. Like I see myself as an individual, and I've always seen myself as such. So what I'm trying to say is like I don't need to be a member of your group. I don't need you to like me or like see yourself in me in order for me to understand like who I am, what I have, where I am. Like just because you don't understand it or you don't like it or you don't agree with it, that doesn't take anything away from what I have going on. And that is like, it is so difficult for some people to understand that. It is so difficult for some people to understand that. Like they're trying to do this like pattern recognition, this pattern matching thing where they're like, oh, I've seen this before. So now A and B in the sky and 50 years and my grandmother and I read it. It's like they're trying to make a story. Even though every person is a fucking individual. Like my family is not your family. Like your experience is not my experience. It's like that saying, like you can't walk a mile in someone else's shoes. Like you might have the same brand of shoe that someone else has. You might even be in a very similar location as another person, but you're not going to have the same lived experience as that person. You just are not. Because every person is an individual. And that's how it is. And you don't have to believe it. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. But that is the fact. That is a fact. That is the truth. That is reality. And it kind of like it doesn't matter like how you feel about that reality. If you agree with it, if you understand it, if logically it makes sense, like whatever your own worldview around reality is, it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter at all. Because someone else, every person, every adult is like making decisions for themselves that like benefit, ideally that would like benefit themselves. And like, so their motives, their how do you say, like, their decision making process probably doesn't fall in line with your decision making process because you guys are different. Yeah, you guys are different. And so, like, the way that I make decisions for me is not going to be the same way that, like, you make decisions for you. That's really hard for some people to understand. It's like so difficult. Like, they just look at themselves and they're like, oh, well, if she didn't make this decision that I made, it must be because insert bullshit here. Like, that is not how this works at all. Like, every second, every day, every minute, like, is an opportunity cost. Like, you are either doing something or you're doing something else, but like, time is moving forward. Like, life is moving forward. Decisions are being made. Either you're making them or someone else is making them on your behalf, but the decisions are being made. And it's just very strange to have, like, so many people just not understand that as being the reality. Like, that is reality. There's not, like, another thing. Like, for real, that's the thing. I think this is another reason why I think just so many black people are just so backwards, especially, like, black men. Like, I don't know. I feel like everyone else, well, it's not everyone else. I feel like poor white men might not get it either. But for the most part, everyone else kind of understands, like, I'm alive right now. I'm going to try to do the best that I can. Especially, like, after you graduate college, I feel like you're at a position where you basically know, like, here are my life chances. Like, here is where I end up. You know, here's the pool of people I have to pull from to marry, to date, to blah, 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 whatever. The pool's not, like, expanding to, like, like, you pretty much know, like, how attractive you are, how rich you are, how insert whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, like, we all know wherever you know, have, like, landed on the pile of life. Because, like, y'all have all been alive in the same way that we have. I don't even know. Things are so strange. Things are so strange. And I just, I think it's just to me, I think that most of the problems that we have in society right now, in American society, are too many poor immigrants of color and just too many immigrants of color who are trying to understand Americana. That basically has to do with waspiness. It just has to do with Christianity, family, and marriage values, and economics, like that. There's not more. Like, that's the thing. There's not another thing. Like, that is the thing. If you are, like, if you don't have some, you know, debilitating disability where you've had to have, you know, special education or something in K through 12, and you are a normal looking human, your life chances in America are pretty great. I think some of the problem, you know, is some of the issues that we're having are some people are just not valuing that. There's some people who don't value that. And then there are other people who are overvaluing that. Like, they're talking about that as if it isn't accessible to everyone. Like, that is the economy package. That is what is available to everyone. Not to, like, some people, but literally to, like, everyone. So, like, I don't understand why we are thinking and talking about it as though, you know, only some people have that opportunity and then the rest of the people don't. That's everyone alive has that opportunity. I just feel like the waspy people, I feel like a lot of Christians in general, especially white Christians, they just kind of get it, and as Jewish people as well, they get it, and they like, everybody plays their role. You know, like women play the role of wives and mothers, men play the role of husbands and providers. Everyone is just playing their role. I think that in a lot of communities of color and black communities especially, like, people just forgot the role. And they're too busy like sticking their nose in like other people's business. Like, stop worrying about other people and worry about yourself. Like, worry about yourself in terms of like actively work to make your own life better. But you shouldn't be comparing your situation to anyone else's, because that doesn't make sense. Like, you are not another person. You are you. You're not, your outcome isn't going to be the same as someone else's, even if all factors are the same. That's another thing that's like super weird that people do. They're like, oh, I went to Berkeley, you went to Berkeley, we're all the same. Oh, I have $1, you have $1. Oh, we're all the same. Like, that is not how it works. Like, just because we both have $1, that doesn't mean we're both spending our dollar in the exact same way. Just because we both live in the same city doesn't mean we're spending our time in the exact same way. Just because we both have a pencil, that doesn't mean we're telling the same story. Like, shit is not all the same. It's strange. It's weird, bro. It's weird.